Welcome back everyone. Today we're going to be looking at a chain stitch. Now this is a chain stitch and it's a very useful stitch. It's a very easy stitch to do, and I think it's one that is very handy to have the knowledge of how to do. Now, just as a bit of a sneak peek, this is the kind of thing you can do with a chain stitch. You can do this lovely textured work, and that's an example of something that you can do with it. And then there are other things that I'll show you along the way. This today is also something I'm going to quickly show you, is a running stitch, and I'm only going to show you because I want to use it in incorporation with the actual chain stitch. So let's get started. Now you need whatever thread you're using. I'm using here, I think it's 3 strands of DMC thread. And I'll probably do my chain stitch a little bit larger than you would normally do it because I want you to be able to actually see it as I'm demonstrating. So knot or back tack your thread however you prefer. Draw the thread through, place your thumb on it there, go back into the original hole that you made, and then decide on a length. So this between here and here now becomes the length of your stitch. So this section here becomes the length of your stitch, and then you pull it through gently and you form that loop. Now place your finger on it or on the thread, whichever's easier for you. Go back into that hole that you've created, and as you can see, you come back up here. Make sure the thread is within that loop, and you form the next stitch. So this is a bit of a loop stitch. So back into that hole, draw your needle through, make sure that your thread is around the needle. I usually hold it here to steady the original stitch, so it makes it nice and firm and it doesn't distort. Take your time. If need be, draw yourself a line if you want to make them very straight. So I should have done that because it gives you a better idea, but I tend not to draw a lot of lines and things. So again, hold your thread to the side here, to the left side, place your needle in the original hole, bring it forth, make sure your thread is around in a loop, hold it here at the base so that you form this nice even stitch. Now you can see it's not a very difficult stitch to create, but it has lots and lots of possibilities. So you can see here I simply do the same action over and over again. That's due to my thread not being even, and as I've lost my thread now, I'm just going to, so make sure your threads are nice and even. If I can quickly rethread this, I will continue. I'll do one more. So that's a thread issue. That's my thread's not even. So hold it to the left into the original hole, and then make sure that the fabric is looped around the needle. Hold it at the base here so that the thread sits flat. So that's going to be the first example, and you can see on the back it forms this nice line, and we'll finish that off later. So make sure your threads are nice and flat when you're doing this. Now the great thing about this stitch is, of course, this is a little bit thicker, and I'm just going to show you the same stitch again but with a thicker thread. So the difference in your thread thickness makes a great deal of difference to how this will, what texture you're basically going to get. It's not going to make it's not going to make any difference to the stitch because the stitch is always the same. But if you want to get some texture, this is a great stitch. Now, if you're concerned, you can notice I don't ever use a hoop. I just get myself tangled up in a hoop. But if you want the stitching to sit extremely flat and not have this little bit of a ripple in it, it is best to put it in a hoop where you'll get the stitching to sit. The fabric will sit really taut like that, and then the stitches will sit against the fabric really flat as well. I prefer not to, but if you like to use a hoop, please go ahead and use a hoop. You do what feels comfortable for you. So again, just following the same process. Try not to pull it too tightly as well. Sorry, I hope I'm actually in the screen. I should actually look, and I am in the screen. Good. Beautiful sunny day today here. Hope everyone's enjoying or having good weather. All right, I'm just going to get to the end of this, and then I'm going to show you. This is just what is called a simple chain stitch. And you can see as if it's very thick thread that it makes it a little bit harder to get it through, but just persevere, be patient, it will happen. It's not going to be too difficult. Okay, so I'm going to finish that there because I want to go over and show you what is called a single or detached chain. So if you just do a chain stitch here and you just do one by itself, this is called a single or detached chain. So the difference between this one and that one is that you need to secure the little loop at the top. So you do a single stitch, and I'll show you again. So it's the same process. You come from the back, hold the thread to the left. I am right-handed, so if you're left-handed, you'll need to adjust that. I just thought about that, but sorry. You put the needle through, make sure that the fabric is looped around the needle. Hold it when you pull it, and then because you need to secure this down, you just do one little stitch into the top area there. So that is what is classified as a detached or single chain. Now, this in itself has lots of possibilities, but one of the major ways that it's often used is to create these little daisy patterns. And you can see here that the little stitch that I've used at the end, I've changed the size a little bit. So let's just have a look at how to actually do that. I was going to use orange. Now this one I've done with a I've done it with a linen thread. And I'm just seeing if I have a mess of threads here because I always have issues threading something. Okay, we'll just use this because I've got it here and it's ready to go. So again, if you tie a knot or you do a double stitch through the back, that's up to you how you start. So just choose a point here. Again, the same technique, hold your thread to the left, place the needle through that original hole that you started with, hold it, draw your thread up, and then place a small stitch at the end to hold your loop. Because remember, you have to hold the loops there somehow because you're not doing the continual stitching. We might just get this out of the way because I will have issues. Okay, now go back into the same original hole. Draw the thread through. Go back into that original hole. Make sure the fabric is over the loop. Hold the base so that you get it nice and flat. And then do one little stitch. Again, turning your work slightly, go back into the original hole. Now it's important that you go back into that original starting spot because if you don't, your little flower will become quite wonky. Try to gauge the length. Now, if you are not happy with doing this freestyle like I am, draw yourself a circle, find the central point, and you work from the central point out so that the edge of your thread should always hit that central point. So you need to go out to those points. In fact, I might just do a circle here. I tend to work fairly free. I think that's a bit of a wonky circle, people. Okay, very wonky circle. Sorry, that's not going to work. Just rub that out a little bit. Okay, let's continue with my freestyle because I can actually do it better like that. So into the center, out, hold all of this with your thumb, to the left, pick a point on that circle there. Now the amount of petals that you place here is really up to you. Now the central area here where you keep going in and out is going to get a little bit congested, but it is actually doable because it's just thread and the cloth will take quite a lot of stitches into a similar spot. If you're concerned about that, or you're thinking, oh, how do you get all those threads to go back through the similar spot? Believe it or not, once you start it, it's quite easy. It will just continue back through without any effort. So again, back into that central spot. And out. Now, if you really want to be very precise with how many petals and what the petals look like, you can draw yourself circles and you can draw yourself points on the circle where each little petal is going to be. So that's the little flower. I think, in fact, the one that I did just freehand is actually much better. Now, what I was talking about, if you want to measure, if you want one there, one there, one there, one there, one there, you can do this in a I'm doing it in pencil so that you can see it, but you would be able to do it in another form, either chalk or something that can be actually removed, or maybe sometimes the things that you use for quilting where you're drawing lines, so that you can remove it and it's not going to, I don't know really what I've just done there. Made a mess is what I've done there. Okay, so that's the little floral bit. Now the other thing that you can do, since I've got a little bit of thread left here, I've put a knot in here somehow. Okay, let's just move on. I'll just put that needle over there. Now, so you can do this basic chain stitch, use different widths of thread. So the thicker your thread gets, of course, the more interesting or more textured it's only going to get. I was looking, this is not much thicker, but if you go thicker again than that, you're going to get a different texture. So the other thing I wanted to show you was that if you really want to embellish this thread a little bit more, you can do some weaving. So you can start here, place a thread, make sure that you've got a knot in your thread at the back, and then you can weave through these threads. Again, if you use a thicker cotton, you're going to get a bit of a pattern. And I've used a colour that you can't really see here, so I'm going to redo this. But you get this woven kind of pattern, and it looks quite good. It adds another dimension, especially if you just want to add a little bit more texture. Don't know, that's a bit difficult to see. I'll see if I can bring it up to the camera a little bit more. You can just see that you're getting a little bit more texture there. Let's try that with a darker colour so that you can actually see what's going on a bit better. So again, you can weave it through. And you just go under the thread. And it just gives it another dimension. It's not very, here it's very, very subtle because my threads are only 3 and this one here is only 2 DMC threads thick. So it's not very thick, but it ends up making the piece, I don't know if you can see it here, but it makes it a little bit more cord-like. So, and it is quite a lot of texture on there because you've got the thicker thread and then you've got another thread. The other thing that you can do is you can actually stitch, use a running stitch through the piece. So again, securing it at the back, and then you can do a running stitch through here. Again, it just adds a little bit of texture, a little bit of a different look. And the running stitch is very simple. I don't know if I showed you the running stitch. I'll actually just show you quickly the running stitch as well. A running stitch is a very useful stitch. Combined with other stitches, it is a great stitch to have in your toolbox. So I like that. I actually like the black with the mustard color over the top. I think that looks really, really good. Now back to the basics of a running stitch. I'll just show you how to do that. Now a running stitch is a very useful stitch. Usually this stitch length and this space are the same, and that uniformity is really good. But if you want to change that for whatever creative purpose that you're using it for, that's up to you. So basically you just thread your needle through in this fashion and then pull the needle through, and you have this lovely running stitch. Running stitch is one of my favorite stitches because I use it in a Japanese traditional process called Boro, which it's the philosophy of mending old things, and you put fabric on fabric and then use running stitch to hold it all together. I love running stitch. It's very relaxing. It's extremely easy to do, and it's a very wonderful creative tool because it has lots of possibilities to it. So I'll just do one more row. I could sit and do running stitch all day long, and in fact, if you look in my playlist, I have some quilts where I've used thousands and thousands and thousands of little running stitches. Of course, you use it in slow stitch. I use it in slow stitch. I use it in Boro. It's also a staple stitch in Sashiko, which is a more decorative Japanese style of stitching. So this is the examples for today. I hope that gave you some insight on how to do chain stitch. So you have the basic chain stitch, you have a detached or single chain stitch that you can turn into these daisies. You can use weaving and you can use the running stitch. I particularly like chain stitch used in this form where you do a whole lot and it provides texture, color, and it's just really, really nice to look at. I really like that. So I'll be using this in my new Stitch Nature book, which is a cloth book that I'm making at the moment. So if you want to join me over there, I'd really like to have your company. And I'm creating a book using all these basic stitches. And you'll see how versatile they are and how they can go from something very basic like this to something like this. And it has lots and lots of uses. So thank you again for being here today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope it inspires you to go off and try chain stitch, or at least gives you some ideas on how to do it and maybe how to use it. So thanks again for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.